Hey guys, it's 𝗪𝗏𝗡𝗚 here, and welcome back to another build challenge. So as you can tell from the title of today's video, we are attempting another 20k budget challenge. But of course, I want to turn things up a notch, and I actually want to see how many Sims I could actually house with only $20,000. Now with that being said, I'm going to try and build a dorm for the first time. So we will have lots of individual bedroom spaces, but then also some shared communal spaces as well. Now apart from that, I don't really have any build restrictions, but I will try to design this for maximum occupancy. So let's dive on into the world of Windenburg and give this thing a shot. All right, so going into the lot itself, unfortunately, we already have $1,500 that has been spent, and that unfortunately is just part of the lot value. But I'm going to see what cheap bed options we have. We do have some bed options here that are in the $200 to $300 range, which is not too bad. But we do have some debug options as well. The problem is these beds do take up more space, so I'm not really sure if it's going to help the budget in the end or not, but we're going to see what we can do here. All right, and off the bat, we do have some fabricated beds, and we do have some for $25, which is not too bad. Gonna try to create some kind of rough color scheme. I'm not really sure how it's going to look, but I think one of these should suffice. Unfortunately, you guys, given that this is supposed to be a dorm, I don't think a Sim would be sleeping with another Sim in their bed. But you know what? We're gonna make the most of it. We're definitely gonna make the most of it indeed. So I'm just gonna bring out probably a good 12 beds to start and then see how the structure adds up. All right, so first things first, we do need some walls down. So let me create a rough structure just like this. Okay, so we are already at over $6,000. Thankfully, we do have some very cheap brick options, which I do enjoy. So possibly one of these could do the trick. Going to go for more of an old school vibe. I'm thinking more of an Ivy League school, perhaps. So these buildings were probably constructed in the 1800s, I guess I would say. Could we do some cheap columns? Maybe. They're not too expensive, but I think the ones I want are somewhere in this range. So let me try something like this for now just to see if it fits. Gonna add in a door as well. And if we're trying to fit the vibe, is there anything that's not going to break the bank? Probably this $40 door. It's not too bad. Ooh, we could do this for $40 and just have one door. Kind of sad, but it could do the trick. All right, so for windows, we definitely want something cheap that will also fit the style. And $25 is not too bad. We also have some that go up to $30. And I think for the look we're going for, we could possibly do maybe something like this or even this option as well. Ooh, I do kind of like this vibe. It does fit the color of the beds a little bit. So maybe if I put a few around the wall just like this. Honestly, you guys, I do think some of these windows might be sacrificed, but I do want to get a general idea of how things will cost and then go from there. We do need a little bit of trim over here as well, which I'm not really sure if I can isolate, but could I do just this one section perhaps? Not really, it's not doing it. I don't really think anything is working with the freeze right now, but I think we can leave the building as is. I do want to see what we can do on the inside. So let's get some fairly cheap wallpaper down. We do have these for $2, which is not too bad. I do like this option from City Living. I don't think I've actually ever used this before, but I do like the stripes here, and they are a little bit grungy to fit the building. I think I will go for this gray option for now, just because I think it'll match the color scheme I have in mind somewhat decently. We do need some flooring down as well, and I think some cheap wood could do the trick perhaps. We have this for $4, $4, $4. We also have $0, which would be amazing. I think it would be a little bit too plain though. Probably going to use my favorite option from the Eco Lifestyle pack and do a dark wood just like this. All right, I'm going to try and add some stairs now. And unfortunately, I'm not really sure how much they're going to cost when I install them. We do have this black staircase from base game, which is not too bad. And it's $148, which it's okay. It's not really too much money. I think we can work with this. Ooh, we could have even done these really giant columns. That would be awesome. If we do possibly, no, they don't reach. They do not reach, you guys. Not cool. Do these from the garden pack reach? Oh, none of these reach. My vision is ruined. Okay, so delete these for now. Can I find taller columns that are still in budget? Maybe I would like to do something like this and then have it reach all the way up to the top, which it actually does. That is perfect. All right, so we're gonna use two of these. I'm going to create a larger, possibly gabled roof just like this, and then possibly have a smaller extension towards the front. Honestly, I'm going to try and go for that neoclassical look here. I know the budget is kind of tight, but I think it'll do the trick. All right, and for roofs, let's see what we have here. Everything is $0, which is absolutely perfect. Ooh, I do like these green shingles from base game. I do think they're going to match with our color scheme, so let's move forward with this. And then let me just add a quick trim as well. The real issue, you guys, is figuring out this whole living situation because we have a lot of beds. I'm hoping we can fit all of these in, but honestly, you guys, I don't really know how this is going to work out. I can section off these areas just like so, and I still need a very small area for a hallway as well. So let me do this. Each double bed is going to have its own room, so hopefully this all fits in here. Right, one about here. Another one maybe here? It's kind of close. It's cutting it close, you guys, but I think it could do the trick. I do have to make sure each of these rooms is at least somewhat adequate. I do know I need some kind of bathroom, a kitchen area, some sort of living / study area perhaps. So there's going to be a lot in this build. Ooh, we do need a small hallway here, so let me divide this off just like this, and then I'll probably just mirror the layout from upstairs just for now. And I think that will cover all of the 12 bedrooms. Come to think of it, if this was not a dorm and people actually shared the beds, we would actually fit a whopping 24 Sims in this particular build. So I think that would be really cool. I don't know if it's going to be completely possible with 20K, but I'm gonna see what we can do with this budget. All right, and with all the wallpaper included, we are at $13,686. So it's still not bad. We still have another over $6,000 to spend. So I think we're in a pretty decent place for now. We definitely need a bathroom though, and I at least want maybe 2 bathrooms? 4 bathrooms would be optimal given that there are so many beds in this space. I do have the possibility of extending this out just a little bit here because I do want perhaps another 2x2 bathroom just like this. And then maybe 2 other spaces can branch off on the sides as well. Already the budget is just flying away. It is completely gone, but I'm going to do my best with this and hopefully squeeze in everything that we need. Going to do the same thing up here as well, just like this. But unfortunately, we don't really have a lot of room for bathrooms. I could possibly push the stairs in forward just a little bit more. So it's going to be a very, very tight squeeze, but you know what? We got to do what we got to do. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 bathrooms now, which would be amazing, but we still need a lot of space for cooking. We still need spaces for studying and leisure. So I think I'll probably just keep the bathrooms on the upper floor. I'm going to change out the wallpaper just a little bit, probably go for maybe more of a tile perhaps. Ooh, I do like this option from Parenthood, and it is only $2. It kind of matches the color scheme just a little bit, so let me try this. Cheap lights, you guys. We definitely need some lighting in here because it is quite drab. We do have this for $50. We do have this for $50 as well. And from there, they just go right on up. So that's what we're working with. 60 is not too bad if I want to stay with the more older antique look. So let me possibly try this option and see how it goes. All right, here we go. We're putting one in each bedroom, bathroom, and then we do need some along the hallway as well. All right, we certainly need some doors and archways because there are no points of entry just yet. And fortunately, the cheapest thing we have is $40. So let me use this option from base game just to match the wood. Ooh, we do still need the railing as well. So let me see what we have here. We do have this one for 15, 18, and 20. So it goes up pretty quickly. I think I'll try and use this option from Eco Lifestyle just to try and keep the cost somewhat low. And now we have to move on to the amenities. So let's get down the essentials for the bathroom. And the cheapest option we have is $325. Yikes. This bathroom stuff is not cheap, you guys, but here we go. We're probably gonna have to do some shuffling around with the budget. Oh no, we're at $19,590. That is not good. I might have to rethink some of my design choices here. Could we get by on 2 bathrooms? We might be able to. It's going to be a little chaotic, but it's possible. All right, this bump out, you guys, I think it will have to go. I'm going to have to try and figure out a better way to use the space, which is going to be very interesting. Of course, we still need our sinks as well. And going into the bathrooms themselves, I do also need the toilet paper. So again, another expense. Honestly, you guys, I do have the option of getting rid of 2 of the bedrooms. So let me try and just see how much money we can actually save if we do this. We're going to shrink in these rooms just like this. and automatically we are recouping some of our money. Okay, so we're down to 19,576. It did save us quite a bit, and we can still use these spaces as some kind of community area. I'm thinking we could have a kitchen on one side and then also a living room / study space on the other. But already budget is super tight, so I really will have to see what is going to work here. Unfortunately, I think this wallpaper is a little bit too drab for my taste. I'm actually going to go back to this option from City Living and probably use this swatch instead. All right, and same thing for the bathrooms. I do want to match these as well. So let me go for a warmer brown option. Do we have cheap tile? That is the question. Because we do have this. We do have this wood swatch just like this for $4. And if we go to the tile section, possibly a brown swatch just like this. I could even go lighter with more of a cream tone. So I could do something like this for just a little bit more contrast. And I do think I like that option a little bit better. We still need mirrors in here as well, so that's a little bit frustrating. I could buy perhaps the cheapest thing I can find. We do have this mirror in the shower, so it's not too bad if we have to get rid of mirrors in the end, but let me buy something cheap just in case. I will tell you guys right off the bat, this place is not going to have any computers, no TVs, none of that. So if you want entertainment, go to the library, the movie theater, all of the above, anywhere but here. This is just very basic living spaces, but it's gonna have to do the trick. If we change out the stairs, we do have this option for $5 and this one for $8, which I don't think is too bad. All right, so we have 19,492. It's honestly still very, very tight. I'm not really sure what else we can move around. We're just going to be super strapped for cash, you guys, and I'm not really sure how we're going to work around that. All right, and the cheapest archway we have is 50. Okay, that's definitely workable. I can use something sort of narrow like this, just so we have a little bit of a hallway entry area, just like so. Okay, we need a kitchen. We gotta eat, we gotta make food. If not, it's going to be takeout for everyone living in this dorm, but I'm gonna do my best here, you guys. The cheapest thing we have is $2.15, so here we go with this very, very old fridge. Gonna need one of these guys. Bare counter, a sink, and then an oven. So this is pretty much what it'll look like down here. All right, let's do a sink towards the left, and I'll just use probably the cheapest option. This is technically a bathroom sink, so let me do this one instead. And then for the stove, we can probably put it all the way over here and save some nice counter space in the middle. And I just realized that I blocked the hallway, so let me shift this guy over. I'm going to also borrow the smaller archways from this area as well and bring them over here and here. Okay, can I sacrifice some bathrooms? I think that's what it's come down to, you guys. It's going to be the worst living situation ever, but it could be worse. It could be worse, you guys. So here we go. I'm going to delete all these walls just like this, and of course take out all of these appliances just like so. Well, I guess at the very least we can kind of shrink the structure, and I think it'll save us a little bit of money. So it's not too much, but it's something. We could have a nice balcony outside, and what I could actually do if I wanted to save money is actually use debug fence pieces to create a balcony. So we can do that, make this space feel a little bit more intentional. All right, I can be stingy. I can actually use just one of these cottage living doors for $40. All right, and for the balcony area, let's see what we have here. We do have some stone wall pieces just like this that may actually work pretty well. So let me bump it up just like this, shrink it down a little bit. Thankfully, we do have these pillars as well. So let me just shrink them down just a tad and nudge them into the wall just like so. All right, a free balcony. I am pretty happy with that. I think it works fairly well. All right, going to the inside now. I also forgot we don't have any dressers, and that's going to be a huge problem. So I'm not really sure what we can do there. Oh, these prices are really bad, you guys. We're going up to $250 here. All right, and for the cheapest dresser, I guess $250 is not too bad. We can do an all white just like this. Sorry, Sims. Unfortunately, you will have to share space, but I promise you it will not be forever. Ooh, we can save money on the doors, so that's a plus. Let me get rid of this one as well. All right, it's kind of a tight squeeze. I guess I can move the bed maybe this way, and I think your Sims can still access it. And I will do the same thing over here as well. All right, so we're sitting at 18,334. So it's not too bad. The budget is still tight, but I think we can make this work. I do want to add in probably a couch and maybe some skill objects as well. So let me see what we have available there. We have this one that starts at 180, which is not too bad. Music is probably too expensive. We do have this for 150. That's actually not too bad. So let's get some music here. I will get some kind of cheap accent table as well. And these are 45. That's actually not too bad. And I guess if we go up, it doesn't really increase too much in price. So I think this would be really cool. I do like this option, especially because it is very, very affordable. Could we fit in some desks and chairs over here? I think we can if we go really cheap. We have these for 140. They're not really anything special, but they could possibly do if we're really on a crunch. All right, and if we wanted a real desk, they go up to 240. Okay, it's a pretty big jump, so that is not good. Ooh, I do like this option from City Living. And we could possibly do maybe 2 of these. We can try to see how it'll work with a budget, but I think unfortunately they may have to go. $30 for this. Perfect. It actually works. Out of curiosity, how much is the book object? It is $240 for that and $60 for this. Perfect. This would be great. All right, maybe move these over like this, and then we can slide this guy over here just like this and put the stereo system back on top. So at least we have some books there. We do have places to study. Can we do some kind of easel perhaps? I think it's going to push the budget just a little bit. $350. Yikes. Okay. So there is that. Ooh, we have no places for dining. That is not good. I think we will have to resort to these really, really cheap options from the Eco Lifestyle Pack. All right, definitely need more dining spaces. So let me duplicate this, and then I will have to reconfigure the budget once more because again, it is right out the window. I'm trying to put as much stuff as I can in this build, but the budget is just very, very restrictive, you guys. It's super challenging to work with. I did not get any of the dressers for up here. All right, rethink the plan. Rethink the plan, you guys. Should I be bad? Should I be bad and have all these Sims share the space? I think we will. I think it will come down to it. Now, I will say, you guys, I have seen a very similar situation in real life at my university, and there were some dorm units that had 4 people sharing one specific bedroom space. So I think it was 2 bunk beds and then only 1 shared bathroom. It was something along those lines. So unfortunately, this is not too far off from real life, at least from my own experiences. But you know what? I think we will all be fine. This will be considered discount student housing, and we're just gonna hope for the best with this. Ooh, we need more space. This is not good. I can shrink this down a little bit, but we still need access to the bathrooms, which is a little bit concerning. I guess if I go like this, the Sims can get in there. This is super, super chaotic, but I think it may be okay. All right, we can forego the extra door and remove this one as well. All right, we're currently at $20,311. Which is not too bad. I think we are in a place to cut some corners a little bit. All right, what can we sacrifice here? That is the question. And we don't even have any windows back here, which is very, very sad. I could try and replace these windows, but I do think that they were already fairly cheap. Oh, wow, we had these for $30. These are gorgeous. Where have these been, you guys? Where have these been? All right, and look at Romantic Garden coming to the rescue here. I think it's really helping the build come to life. So let me actually copy these over on this side as well. And I think we'll use the original base game ones on the 2nd floor. We have no windows towards the back, which is kind of sad. I would like one possibly over here like this, and then maybe one over here as well. But of course, we do have to make some possible sacrifices. The question is, what exactly do we sacrifice here? There's not really much left to delete, unfortunately. All right, we do need lights. We do need toilet paper. We do need our dressers as well. Honestly, you guys, I could save money and delete the wall like this and also delete these archways as well. So that is a possibility. I think it'll save us some money in the long run. And now if we delete this wall as well, we are down to $20,015, which is so close. It is so close, you guys. Ooh, we do need an outdoor trash bin, which I don't think we have. All right, so we have the trash cans here. We do have this option for $80, but unfortunately, I'm not really sure if it's an indoor or outdoor trash can. I'm going to go on the safe side and actually use this option instead from the Island Living pack. So I think this will do the trick. We also do not have a mailbox. So let me get one of those out. And I think just a simple option like this will be fine because it's actually $0. Perfect. Ooh, better yet, let's do some get together just like this. And it actually corresponds to the building a lot more effectively. All right, we're over budget by $110. So let's really figure out what we're going to do here. Perhaps I can cut out some of these dining chairs. This could be a possibility. So let me do just one of these. And already we are down to $19,950. Could I add one more? Possibly. And I think that is fairly decent. It at least allows for a little bit more seating. All right, so we are now at $19,970. So we do have a little bit of wiggle room if we are missing some essential items. Fire alarm is $75. Okay, so not that. Ooh, I do have an idea. And I think if we find something to put in this area, this would be perfect. Either a clock or some kind of university crest. That could be great. Ooh, these get very expensive very quickly. So hope is dwindling fast. I did like something like this for 60. And if I shuffle around my money, I could make it happen. Ooh, we do have this. We do have this bear mascot, which actually could fit for a campus building. And I think if we're over by $30, I can probably shuffle around the budget just a little bit. And we still have $30 left, which honestly is great. I can try to find something else we can squeeze in here. Ooh, these posters are only $5. These could be really great. I can actually decorate the dorms with these. Posters are definitely a thing in college, so I think these will work great. And we can even include possibly some of these objects from the Parenthood pack as well, just for a little bit more variety. All right, I think this is looking better. We do have a little bit more character in each of the rooms. And then I think the last part I want to do is actually add probably this poster and place it in the kitchen area instead, especially given that there are a lot of food items on this poster. All right, what next? What else do we need in this house? I guess we could bring back the indoor trash can because that is sort of an essential object, I would say. Let's go ahead and use this option from the Snowy Escape pack just like this. And then we have about $55 left, so it's not too bad. Is anything $55? We have posters that are a little bit too expensive. Ooh, we do have some of these really fun decorations, and I think they could do the trick. All right, scratch this banner. I'm not really liking it, but I will use this option instead, which does feel very fitting for a university dorm. All right, and I will use one more of these posters to complete our budget and probably stick it along the wall just like this. Now it is the fun time to decorate the lot, and of course we're going to go full on debug here. We are in the world of Windenburg, so I will try to pull a lot of the debug foliage we see around here. Obviously though, everything does have to be free from here on out. So I will pull probably some of these just like this. All right, I think this is working better. I did mix up the sizes just a little bit, and I think it's giving the lot a little bit more breathing room. Ooh, we actually have some very beautiful fence pieces, and I've actually never used this particular option, but I think I will try it here. I think it'll make a lot of sense with this build. All right, good news and bad news. The good news is I think the fence itself, the gate looks great, but we don't have a pillar that matches. This is the best thing we have. So unfortunately, I do need to do a little bit of digging, but I do think we can find some that will fit this look. Ooh, we actually have this option, which is not too bad. I could scale it down a little bit just like this. And I think it actually fits fairly well with this fence piece. Ooh, we do have these street lamps. These could be really cool if they actually light up. And do they? Not really. I think there is an option that does work. Let me see if I can actually find it. All right, so we did hit the jackpot here. We do have this option from the City Living pack. And honestly, I completely forgot about this street lamp, but I think it'll work perfectly here. Better yet, I can probably put them a little bit closer to the building. That way we do have some light bouncing off just like this. Could we put a nice fountain in the middle? Perhaps. We did have this one again from the City Living pack, but I do think we can go a little bit smaller. I do think the Get Together pack actually has a nice option. I'm also going to move this back just like so and probably place it along the wall. And I guess the trash can just go over here for the time being. All right, and finally, my love for hedges is always here. Here we go again. I'm using more of the debug options from the Get Together pack just to flesh out the landscaping a little bit more on this lot. We do have a little bit more foliage that is completely free, so I will scale it down and put it underneath the trees just like this. And we are now off to find the bicycles, which I do believe are in the Cottage Living pack. And the important question is, are they free? Which I sure hope they are. And here they are, perfect, $0. I will use some terrain paint now and just very carefully pat it in beneath the foliage just for a little bit of realism. The last thing I want to do is add a little bit of gravel. I do want to create some pathways up here towards the front and also have them wrap around towards the backyard as well. I do want to create some kind of sitting area out here, but unfortunately it will be mostly debugged, so not functional, but it will be there for aesthetics. All right, and for a sitting area, let's see what we have available. Cottage living could save me. There is this public bench, which has a bus stop sign. It's not really perfect, but it could work, so I could use something like this. Aha, here it is, you guys. I did find the bench. It does only have one swatch, but I do think it works better than this option from the cottage living pack. So let me go ahead and place it on over here and maybe another one along the window just like this. Ooh, we do have these lovely lamps instead. So let me get rid of these from the city living pack and I will use these options instead. They do give a really, really nice warm glow. Honestly, you guys, I do think these fit a lot better. So I'm going to put some along this street just like this. And now the lot should be a lot brighter in the nighttime view. Ooh, we do have a duplicate fountain. So let me actually get rid of this and find something else to replace it. I am returning back to cottage living once more. And I do want to see if we can find some kind of signage that is completely free. All right, I am not seeing anything, you guys. Let me try get together once more. All right, city living. Do we have something that could work? All right, unfortunately, nothing is really fitting. What I think I'm actually going to do is use this bird bath and create a little area around it with some flowers. All right, just like that, just to kind of square things off in the center. All right, guys, I think we are pretty much all set with our $20,000 dorm. This is just a look at the outside, which honestly, I am pretty happy with. I think the landscaping was a lot of fun. We did have a nice centerpiece over here with a sort of wraparound gravel texture, marking a pathway around the building. We do have a nice bike rack over here. We do have the trash and mailbox. And of course, we even have our lovely school mascot, which is the Roaring Bear. And going inside, we do have a whopping 10 beds, which honestly is not too bad. Obviously, if you are in a dorm situation, you're probably not going to be sleeping 2 people to 1 bed. But if you did want to fit in a lot of Sims, you can actually fit in 20 Sims in total. So for $20,000, that is not too shabby. This is a look at the first floor. So mainly the bedrooms are fairly plain, but we do have some posters from Snowy Escape and Parenthood, and each of the rooms has at least 1 or 2 dressers as well. Going farther back, we do have the more communal spaces. We do have a little tiny kitchen area over here with a 4-seater dining room table. Of course, the amenities are super old and basic, but they will suffice nonetheless. But anyways, we are moving on towards the left, and we do have a shared study area. So fortunately, I did include a lot of hobby or skill building objects. We do have the stereo system there. We do have some books for reading. Hopefully there are some skill books in there. And of course, we have an easel as well. Now, if you have students that bring their laptops, this would be a really great study station over here. And we have one lonely sofa in this area as well. Moving upstairs, the second floor is fairly simple. We have these really massive shared bedrooms that have 3 beds each. But again, having the same dressers and posters there. And of course, the same thing reflected on the other side as well. We also have a little balcony out here. I did use some debug just to kind of cut costs a little bit. So I do think that works fairly nicely there. And we have a very, very tiny 2 bathrooms. 2 bathrooms only in this large dormitory, which is something. It's something, you guys. So good luck to all the Sims living here, but hopefully these utilities will suffice. Overall, I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching this. I would say out of all the 20K challenges I've done, I am super, super happy with this end result. And honestly, I wouldn't be too opposed to using this in my own gameplay if I did have university. With that being said, please feel free to share your thoughts on how I did. Do you like the end result? Do you think I could have done better with the budget? Definitely feel free to let me know in the comments below. As always, if you have ideas for more challenges, it doesn't matter if it's weird, difficult, or really off the wall, I'm really open to anything. With that being said, I will see you all in the next build challenge. And of course, just like always, this has been 𝗪𝗛𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 signing off. Thank you so much for watching, guys.